Welcome to the second part of my quest system series. In the last video we set up our custom character that can move around and jump in our level, so that in today's video we can add a level and experience system for our character. To get started, we will need some kind of representation for our experience and our current level. So let's go to our widgets folder under main widget, and here we will add some things. First we will add an image that we can call character icon. You can uncheck the is variable for that. The position in X and Y will be 20. The size in X will be 170 pixel by 160. And we can set the Z order to 1. The last thing we'll have to do for this is to select an image for the brush. So here we will search for icon underscore standard and select that. If you want to use a different character, you would of course have to create an icon for that character by yourself. I just created this by playing the game, then turning around my character and taking a screenshot before adding the border, so that should not be that hard to do. After that we will add a progress bar that we will call EXP bar for experience. The position will be 152 by 116 pixel, just so that it appears beneath our character icon here. And the size will be 360 by 28 pixel, worked for me. Also, what you can do to make that look a bit more interesting is go to the style, background image, and give that a slightly darker tint, like that. Then we will also have to change the fill color and opacity. For experience, there is usually some kind of orange color. I will just type in C3626FF for the hex linear code. And let's set the percent to 0.5 so we actually see something. And what you can do is go down to the render transform, and transform, modify the shear in X. For example, you could type in 45, and that way it looks a lot more interesting and not just like a simple rectangle. After that we will add a text that we can call our experience text. Make that a variable. The position will be 154 pixel in X and 120 in Y. The size will be 360 by 28 pixel. Then we will set the Z order to 1 so it appears on top of our progress bar. For the default text we could type in something like 50 spacebar / 100. Also set the justification to align text center. Then we will also change the font type to italic and maybe 16 pixel. And if you want to, also go to the shadow color and make that opaque. Then let's search for a border. Add that here. Call that our level border. Position for that will be 128 in X and 8 in Y. Size will be 80 by 80 pixel. And the Z order we will set to 2, so that appears on top of our character icon. Then expand the padding here and set that to 0. Then give it a padding of 2 from the top. Let's set the horizontal alignment to align text center and vertically to the center as well. Then expand the brush and here search for level border. We can grab another text, drag that on top of our border. Check the is variable, call that the level text. For the default text, just type in something like 9. Increase the font size to 28 maybe. And let's also modify the color and opacity here to something like an orange color. Then hit OK. Compile, save, and we can close the main widget. Let's go to our blueprints, characters, third person character now. And first off, create some variables. The first one will be called current level, and that will be an integer. The next one will be current XP, or EXP for experience points this time. And then we will need one other integer called EXP for next level. And another variable next EXP multiplier. Make sure that this one is a float. Then we can hit compile and save and type in some default values. So we will start with level 1 and our current XP will be 0, of course. The XP for next level you can choose. I will just type in 150 to reach level 2 maybe. And the next EXP multiplier basically means with what value we will multiply our XP for next level when we hit a new level to calculate the next EXP for level. So for example, if we need 150 experience points to reach level 2 and our next XP multiplier is set to 2, we will then need 300 to reach level 3 and 600 to 4 and so on. So I would set that to 1.5 to start with. And another thing that is completely optional but helps you to organize your blueprints is to put your variables and functions in categories. So for the category, if you want to create a new one, just go to the category and type in something like experience system, and you will see that we added a new category. If we want to add other variables to that category, we can either go to them and under category hit the arrow, then choose experience system, or we can drag and drop them onto our experience system category here. So let's move all of that in there, and we will right click somewhere in our event graph, create another custom event that is called onLevelUp. Let's come back in here later and implement that. First we will need some new functions. First one will be called UpdateExp. And what we'll simply do here is get our main widget, get experience text, then set text. Off of the in text we will search for format text, and the in format will be in curly brackets current, then close the curly bracket, hit spacebar once, add a slash, hit spacebar once more, and then again in curly brackets needed. Now it will ask us for a current and needed value. For those we will drag in our current XP, then search for to text integer, expand it and uncheck the use grouping if you don't want that. Then connect the return value to current. After that drag in the XP for next level, copy the to text node, connect our XP for next level and connect the return value to needed. Also we will need to update our progress bar, so off of the main widget get our experience bar and set %. Now for the in %, let's copy over current XP and XP for next level. Then off of the current XP we will convert that to a float and copy that for XP for next level. And then we will divide our current XP by our XP for next level and connect that to the %. After that we can return. Next function that we'll need is UpdateLevel. And the only thing that we'll do is get our main widget, get level text, set text, and the in text will be our current level, converted to a text, and again you can uncheck the use grouping if you don't want that. After that, return. Now there's only one function left, and that will be called AddExperiencePoints. This function will have an input of the type integer called amount, meaning how many do you want to add. Then let's drag in our current XP, search for plus, integer plus integer, connect the amount, and then also set the current XP to that value. After that, we will drag off the current XP and search for greater or equal integer, connect the XP for next level, because if that's the case we will need to call level up. So let's add a branch. If it's not the case, we will simply update our experience points and then return. But if it is the case, we will call onLevelUp in our event graph. So we will then increase our level and then calculate the XP for the next level. And after that, we also want to go into that branch again, just in case that we added enough experience points to skip a level. For example, if our level is 1 and we add, let's say, 500 experience points, it could be the case that we will skip level 2 and directly be level 3. So then we will check that our current XP is still greater than our XP for next level and call onLevelUp again, or then update the experience points. Now let's close our functions and go back to the event graph. Again, for organizing purposes, we can put our functions in a category as well. So here we could just select our experience system now and repeat that for the other functions. Now let's go to our onLevelUp event in the event graph, and first we will set the current XP to the current XP minus the XP that we needed for that level up. So XP for next level, connect that. Then let's set the XP for the next level to our current XP for the next level times integer times float. Then connect the next XP multiplier. And then connect the float to our set XP for next level. And it will automatically add a truncate node to make that an integer. Or if you want to, you could also use round. Does not matter too much. After that, we will drag in our current level and search for plus plus, increment int, so add 1 to it. And finally, we will call UpdateLevel. Before we can test this, there are two things that we have to add. First off, on event begin play, after we promote our main widget, let's add some space here. And let's call UpdateLevel and UpdateExperiencePoints. Because otherwise you would see the default values of our progress bar and our level text and not the actual values when starting the game. Then connect that to the add to viewport. Also, we currently have no way of adding experience points, so for the time being, let's just search for F and add the key event here. Every time we call F, let's add experience points, and for the amount, type in whatever you want. I will just use 100. Then let's select our F and hit C to add a comment around that. Just type in debug colon F to increase EXP. Now we can hit compile, save and play. You can see our character icon in the upper left corner and our current level is 1. Our progress bar is set to 0% currently, which is correct. Then if we hit F, we now have 100 out of 150. Can hit F once again and we're now level 2, and we will need 225 XP for the next level. So our basic system is working, but currently there is no real feedback for the player when he levels up, except for some numbers changing in the upper left corner. To make our level up a bit more interesting, we will add a particle system and some audio effects now. So let's close our game. Compile, save, close the third person character, and we already have a level up sound, so you don't have to deal with that, which means that we can skip to the particle system now. To do that, we will use an already existing particle system and modify that to look a bit different. So let's go to the starter content. Under particles, you will see p_explosion. Let's right click, duplicate that, and call it p_level up. Then open that up. And first let's remove some of the emitters in here. So select the fireball and hit delete. The sparks will be deleted, and we won't need the firelight or the smoke. So now we only have that shockwave left here. And here we will make some changes. First off, let's go to the lifetime, expand the lifetime here, and currently it's set to 0.4. So the different particles will only live for 0.4 seconds. Let's increase that to 1. See that going much slower now. Also, you can go to the spawn here, and under burst you can see the burst scale. Let's expand that. Expand the distribution, and we have a constant of 1. If we want to see more particles, we can just increase that to 5 maybe, and that way our shockwave becomes much more prominent. Also, the red color might not be appropriate, so to change that, go to color over live, expand the color over live, the distribution, the constant curve, and then we will have 2 points. Expand the first one and select whatever you want. Something like blue color should work maybe. Then go to the second point, which is point 1, and here we will select a darker blue, then hit OK. You can see that we already made quite a lot of changes there. So we can save it, close it, and let's go to our quest system folder and create a new folder called particle systems here. Then go back to our starter content, particles, and move the level up to our particle systems folder. Now we will need to come back to our third person character, to the viewport, and we will add a component which will be a particle system. Call that level up effect. For the template, select our p_level up. Then let's scale that up maybe by 1.5, and we can move that up so it appears around here, 100 maybe in Z. Also search for auto activate and uncheck that, because we only want to see that particle system when we actually level up. So uncheck it, compile, save, and go to the event graph. Now in our onLevelUp, we currently only execute the logic, meaning setting the XP for level and resetting our current XP. Now we'll also need to work on the feedback for the player. Again, for organization reasons, we will separate those two parts. To do that, you can add a sequence. And now you will see the then 0 and the then 1 pin, or you can also add further pins. So first we will execute all the logic, and then, so on the then 1 path, we will right click and play sound 2D. For the sound you can select the level up sound, and if you want to expand that node and change the volume multiplier and pitch multiplier, I think it's just a bit too loud, so we set that to 0.5 and the pitch multiplier to 0.2 maybe. Then connect it to the execution. Afterwards, expand the components here, drag in the level up effect, and search for activate. Also check the reset here, connect that to the play sound 2D. Let's put a comment around this and call that player feedback. And let's select everything up here, hit C, call that level up logic. And maybe move that to the side here. Then we can select everything in here, add another comment, and call that event on level up. And now we can move that somewhere in our event graph. Alright, compile and save now. Play. And if we hit F now, you can hear the sound playing. See our particle system. If you have some kind of animation for that, you could also play that when the player levels up, but I think that's enough. Another thing I just quickly want to show you is also that you can skip levels. So let's go to our debug, F to increase XP, and for the amount type in 500. If we then hit compile, save again, and hit F, we skipped level 2 and directly got to level 3. Alright, that's it for our very basic experience system.